mean, there hasn't been a lot on, has there, really?
There really hasn't been enough. I was going to see Stuber.
See, I really wanted to see that The Dead Don't Die. But
yeah?
Got it on the island.
I'm not sure if it's coming to the island.
It's not. It's out.
I think that has a very, very, very tiny release because it's nowhere near here.
No, but the posters are up for it. That's the thing.
Yeah, because I was talking to Ben in the cinema last week, and he says they're still not. They hadn't heard last week whether we were getting it or not.
Okay. All right. Should we just crack on with this then?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just crack on with this.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Hello and welcome to Netflix vs. Cinema, the podcast that is struggling to start this week because we seem to be saying everything we want to say before we press the record button. But my name is Tosin, and I am based up in Coventry near in the Midlands near Coventry. And on the Isle of Wight, joining me are Sharon.
Hello.
And Shaun.
Hiya.
Yeah, after a week, and we'd like to apologize to all of our listeners, especially Nina, who actually texted me telling me how sad she was that we weren't around last week. We'd like to apologize. We've gotten our ducks in a row, and even though we've had to record the podcast a day earlier this week, we've managed to make it that we're all on the podcast, all in the same place. Isn't that right, guys?
That's cool. That is right.
We're all here. We're live.
We're here.
We managed to make it.
We managed to make it.
We're live and kicking.
Even though, Shaun, you're going to leave us in like 2 weeks to go away for 2 weeks, aren't you?
I am going to be away for 2 weeks. I mean, the thing is, I think the time differences will be too much. I was going to say, because it'll be like 1 o'clock. But if I'm up at 1 o'clock in the morning, you may get a little tinkle.
And who do you want to tell everybody where you will be going?
Well, I'm actually going to go. Yep, I can do if you like. I'm going to go to Thailand.
Ooh.
And I'm going to do a sea walk. I'm going to go walking on the bottom of the sea. Only about 15-20 meters.
Oh.
But I'm going to have like one of those
old diving bell.
Yeah, the bell.
Things.
So more of it like with the big head things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And those
Ooh.
Like 20,000 leagues under the sea.
Yeah, something like that, but not quite that far. I don't think.
You're not going to be attacked
it's
by a giant squid.
I mean, it says 15-20 meters, but I expect it'll only be about 5.
I expect it to be 20,000.
So that'd be quite interesting thing. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a bit of island hopping and stuff, and so
lovely.
You
going solo?
Yeah, I'm going solo.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I'm going solo.
Oh, nice, man.
So I just decided that that's what I want to do, and I might while I'm in that area, I might pop into Vietnam. So because I've always wanted to go to Vietnam, see the it's a place I haven't been, but I was really interested in the Vietnam War. So and apparently it's really good. They got some really good museums and that. So, but who knows? I'm very much.
Tell us
I've got
when
the
you
first.
come back.
Yeah, I've got the first few days planned, and I may, if I hear back from them, I may have a couple of days working in an orphanage. But I was going to sort of keep that quiet. So
be nice.
So because maybe with a look to volunteering in the future.
Yeah.
That's good because I went to Vietnam, and I think, are you going to try to do the Cu Chi tunnels?
Yeah, that type of thing. Yeah.
I
haven't really. I've got no definite plans except for like the first few days or the first week, basically, and then the rest of the time I'm gonna sort of play it a bit by ear. Because the trouble is with the currency, the baht currency is really strong at the moment, and the pound being so weak as well. It depends on finances really, and how much ththings are going to be. So we'll have to play it a little bit by ear. I might have to spend a few days just backpacking and lounging on the beach.
Yeah, just so
but mind you, I'm not complaining. I won't be complaining on that.
All right. So before we came on, as I said, we were having a whole massive conversation that made me go, we need to stop. We need to start recording this because this is good stuff. You were talking about how you were talking about your your dream holiday, because obviously with the 50th anniversary of the moon landing, there's a whole bunch of documentaries and stuff on TV. I mean, you spoke about Apollo 11 last time we were on, and I guess you've been watching and listening to a lot of stuff on. You were talking about how you hoped by this time you'd already be in space or holidaying on Mars or something.
Yeah, I had when I was younger. Yeah, I mean, I was really interested in that, and they've had a lot on the radio. I mean, they've actually had on Radio 4 about 1:30 when from the news they've been having like 10-minute little talking about the different things that's never been
why the space race suddenly sort of slowed.
Yeah, and things. So I mean, there's been a lot of stuff about it. So obviously, being that I was really interested, if you think I was 9 years old when it happened.
I suppose the progress from the 1950s into the 1960s was quite rapid, and it was heightened, wasn't it?
It was.
And then it sort of stopped in the 1980s, effectively. I don't know if it's budgetary or political or whatever, but that sort of that advance, the desire to advance into space seems to sort of disappeared.
I think it was just very, very expensive, and also at the time the Vietnam War was on as well, and that was very, very expensive, and they didn't really see the value of going to the moon. There wasn't anything there.
Well, I know in terms of what real science came out of the moon landing, it was basically Teflon, wasn't it? Isn't that the main advance from the moon landings that we've experienced as a people? I remember going to the Science Museum as a child, and we met an astronaut. My school class did, but I can't remember for the life of me now who it was. I was 10 at the time, and I remember I got to ask him a question, but I can't remember the name of the astronaut who it was. He'd been on the moon.
Yeah,
he talked about his moon experiences.
That's right. So there's been, well, if that was 11, there'd been there's 17. Apollo 17 was the last one.
Yeah.
So I guess there'd been 6 missions.
Yeah, so this was in 1981, 82. We went up to the Science Museum, and there was and then one of our part of the school trip was that we would get to interview a moon-landed astronaut.
Anyway, welcome to the moon and back.
Sorry, there we go. Well, it is the 50th anniversary, so we got.
That's enough about that.
Yeah, that's enough about that. Let's get on.
Welcome
to
the moon and back.
Movies.
This week's podcast about the moon landing. No, it's good though. It's good though. I actually love that stuff. I mean, it's good. Obviously, I mean, speaking to someone like you, Shaun, who was actually alive while it happened. That for me, that's actually really, really cool. To hear all about that. So I'm guessing because I know that all the channels like for instance, this week I haven't seen any films in the cinema, so I'm just pretty much going to listen to you guys talk. I've seen something on TV, but so pretty much going to listen to you guys talk. And part of it was I've been playing a lot of tennis recently, and last night, like the last 2 tennis matches I've played, like last week and this one, afterwards when we get in and switch on the TV, and it's something about the moon landing. There's all these different documentaries. Channel 4 is getting on it, BBC is getting in on it, and everything is something about the moon landing. And we're gonna go in real time and show you what would have happened this time 50 years ago and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's big. But we came here.
I think as well with the summer being on is sometimes you it's too late to go to the cinema, and like you say, you're playing tennis and there's lots of other things going on. So, yeah. So it's a bit of a tough time all round, really. Yeah. And there hasn't been major amounts out.
There really hasn't. I mean, last week when we didn't record the show, I was kind of like, well, it kind of works because quite frankly there was nothing in the cinemas.
Yeah, it gives us a chance to actually watch something.
Yeah. Well, it gives them a chance to release something because I was joking. I was saying that the British summer and cinema blockbuster season are the same. They both don't realize they're supposed to be here. So we have no summer, we have no. But it's actually kind of true that I've been shocked at how little there has been. I think everybody was running. Oh, I get it. Marvel released a film, so everybody was running scared. Whatever.
That's probably the reason.
Yeah, they avoid it, don't they?
Whenever Marvel releases a film, there is nothing new for 2 weeks, because Far From Home. Okay, cool. Okay, it makes sense now. Now I get it. But yes. So we've seen some things, and we have we have this also ran section because we have a couple of rules on this show. When we're talking about Netflix for cinema, we have 3 rounds where we talk about film we saw in the cinema, we talk about film we saw on Netflix, and we see how they matched up with each other, rate them out of 5, and see what they get. And we have an also ran section in which we put things, but because of our rules, some things are going to have to end up in the also rans. Like for instance, number 1 rule is that it can't be something that you have seen before. So if you're going to bring something from Netflix, you can't bring something that you've seen in the cinema already, and something that Shaun you've seen, something that you've seen this week is something you've seen in the cinema already. Number 2, it's like if you're going to see the TV series, you must have seen the whole thing, if you're going to season 5 of whatever show, you must have seen all of season 5 before you come in and review it. And number 3 is that we want to bring in as many Netflix originals as possible. So with that, let's start to also rans. And Shaun, would you like to tell us what it is that you cannot put into the show this week, even though you watched it?
Well, there's a couple of things, to be honest with you. There's Doomsday, Doomsday, 2008 film. Well, it was on Netflix, and I thought, oh, this looks interesting. This looks an interesting movie. but after a little while into it, I thought it's got Bob Hoskins in that. I thought I've seen this, and then I think it was when I very first got my unlimited card. I think it was one of the movies that. So it may well have been the first, because I've been a member now since 2008. So I think it was that. But anyway, I watched it again because I thought, and to me it's a bit of a homage of like Escape from New York, the Mad Max Fury Road, not Fury Road, the Mad Max, the Road Warrior, the number 2, and a real homage to those sort of films. Yeah. And it wasn't really too bad, it was a bit cliched and a bit corny, and a bit.
This is the Vin Diesel Goes to Scotland film.
That's it. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah. So they put, like, there's this disease, or so-called disease, and they put a barrier across Scotland, and Scotland's really become like two different societies. They've reverted into almost like
Braveheart.
That's it. Malcolm McDowell was like, "Yep, sorry, go on."
I was just going to say, don't try and backdoor review this film. Remember the rules.
Oh, wait, okay. So, okay. So it's a 3-star average film. Do you remember it? Can you remember it, Sharon?
Yeah,
why did you say that? But can I just say this one thing which I watched as well?
Okay.
And it was on net. And it was called Emperor of the North Pole, or Emperor of the North, which is a film from 1973. And I happened to see it there.
But you've never seen it before?
Yeah, no, I'd seen it before. And I just thought, and it is such... I mean, I don't know if you would have ever seen this movie,
No,
Sharon,
I haven't.
But it's basically Lee Marvin, Ernest Borgnine, and it's in 1933 in the Depression, and it's this hobo, like Ernest Borgnine. He's really, really nasty in this. Normally, he's quite a jovial character, but he's well nasty in this. And he's like the guard on a train, and he doesn't let hobos have a ride. And they're like, oh, Shack, no one rides on Shack chain. And Lee Marvin's like, hey, number 1, and it's all hobo speak. So it's like in the Depression. And he's gonna ride the train. He's gonna ride Shaq's train, and it's a confrontation between these two guys. And it's an absolute fantastic film to watch if anybody wants to see it. And Sharon, I mean, I think it's one of those films that nobody really
it's sort of gone under the radar.
It's sort of slipped under the radar. And in our old show when we were doing Don't Make Them Like They Used to, I would have so reviewed this one because this is good. So if you ever get a chance, it was called Emperor of the North Pole, but because the studio thought it sounded like a Christmas film, they just called it Emperor of the North, even though Emperor of the North Pole was mentioned a lot of times in there. So, but it's great. I mean, Keith Carradine, he's like an up and coming hobo, and he's like, so I would recommend, if you get to see this film, I would really recommend. This is a total. I mean, I was looking at the reviews there. I found it on IMDb, and they're all pretty huge. They're all like, one of the great unsung films of the 1970s.
Right. Okay. So it's cool. Like, how last week we put out an episode just telling people to go check out an episode of They Don't Make Them Like They Used to. This sounds like one of those ones, one of those hidden gems that we would have had.
Hidden gems,
that we would have had in a hidden gem section, like a film that is great but not many people know about.
That's it. And this one, and it's not dated. It doesn't seem dated. Like some films from the 70s can seem quite dated, even though I'm a real lover of them. This does not seem dated because of the era it's taken place in. You've got a steam train, and you've got all the all that sort of missing each other, the trains, and you go, no one's riding my train, and all the different. It's a good film.
All right.
Emperor of the North Pole, 5-star, bang. But anyway, that's an also ran.
All right, cool, good stuff.
Sharon, sorry. Over to you. Sorry, mate, I'm hogging again.
No, you're not.
So Sharon,
I got all excited, Tosin here. I'm all like, I'm all jittery. Sharon's laughing,
Okay.
I'm like all excited.
for those of you who might not have listened to us before, and maybe this might be the first thing you know, sometimes Shaun is like, Shaun is like the movie-going equivalent of a puppy dog, in that he gets, Shaun gets once he gets majorly excited about something, it's really, really hard to stop him, which is, which is not.
True. I get real animated, don't I? I like jiggly and.
Which is not a criticism and in the least, Shaun. Love that about you.
No, thanks.
All right, cool. And Sharon, Sharon, you had another film that you'd seen on Netflix, but according to our rules, this is something that we have previously reviewed. But so we're not going to put it into the main bouts, but we're just going to have it in the also runs, and you're going to tell us a little bit about Dumpling.
Yeah, I saw Dumpling. It's it's a film on Netflix original about a plus size girl who decides to enter one of these beauty pageants because she's always been sort of grown up in the shadow of her mum. Her mum was a former beauty pageant queen, Miss Teen something or other.
Yeah.
And it's been like that, was like the highlight of her life.
Yeah.
And she's always felt, that she was growing up in the shadow of her glamorous mother. And she basically sort of discovers her own beauty. She makes friends with herself and joins this pageant, and with a whole mixture of odd bod friends who they go in there originally to like fight the system, and then they see the charm in it, and they also learn how to love themselves basically through it. And I just thought it was a really lovely film. I liked the fact that it was a big girl who wasn't trying to hide being big. They didn't do a makeover of her where they tried to make her diet or make her suddenly a skinny girl. She was who she was, and even though there was like a love interest in it, that wasn't the main part of the story. The main part of the story was about her accepting herself and building a relationship with her mother and with her friends, and this romance was on the side. So I thought it was, if I was a teenage girl, I would have absolutely adored this film. And as an adult, I liked it as well. I liked it a lot.
It sounds like you adored it even though you're not a teenage girl. But I think
I just found there's a lot to like about this film. I like the fact that it wasn't about her finding her identity through other people.
Yep.
She found her identity through, coming to accept herself as that she's a big girl.
They're good, those films. It's like a few weeks ago with 8th grade. You should watch that.
Yeah. I just thought it was a charming film. And even though Jennifer Aniston, she is who she is, you could see that for her there was value in the whole beauty pageant thing, because if you're not into that world, you may think, oh, it's just superficial, it's awful. But for the girls who enter it for different reasons, for them it's, and who are we to say you can't do that?
Yeah.
Because I think there's the whole point of the film is like they're saying to these big girls, you can't be a beauty queen because you're a big girl. And so to turn around and say to the slim beautiful girls, you can't be a beauty queen because it's demeaning. It's like, hang on, let them say what is demeaning or not. You're just doing exactly the same thing as you've always done to these other girls. So I like the fact that it was about this sort of freedom of expression, and if you want to do it through taking part in a beauty pageant, then actually the whole point of having choice is that you can choose to do these things that other people may not necessarily approve of. So I thought a lot of this film. I thought it was really good. As an also ran, it was really good. It was up there for me.
I might have to see
I wasn't
this.
expecting to love it as much as I did, and I really did enjoy it.
Yeah,
I'm just looking at the user reviews, and they're all 10s and 9s and 8s.
Yeah.
I've seen it. It is a good film. Sharon, how many stars would you give it?
I'd give it a 4.
All right. So because obviously you mentioned Jennifer Aniston, who plays the beauty pageant mum, and it will be a bit depressing for some people that Jennifer Aniston is now old enough to play the mum of a fully grown 20-something-year-old woman. but never mind.
Yes, I know.
And the person who plays the title character, who is sometimes called Dumpling, Shaun, you would recognize her because she is Danielle McDonald, who played the lead in Patty Cakes.
Oh yeah, Patty Cakes. Yeah,
she played the lead in Patty Cakes, and I think Patty Cakes and Dumpling do follow a little bit of the same ground, as in this woman finding herself and all that, even though because of the way she looks, a lot of people are saying, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you're this, you're that, all that kind of stuff. But it's I did like Dumpling. I thought it was a good film. I thought it, and I thought it really did race
as well.
She was in Bird Box.
Yeah.
All right, I did.
Yeah, she was the pregnant girl in Bird Box.
Oh.
Never. I still have never seen Bird Box. I still haven't seen it. Yeah.
Well, there's a pregnant girl in it.
played
that
by
was
Danielle.
a Netflix original.
Yeah, played by Danielle
played by her.
McDonald. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
she's like a young Amy Shermer.
Yeah. She's lovely. Yeah, so that was my also ran.
That's good. Okay, cool.
Dumpling.
And now
Have you got any also rants, Toast?
Oh, well, I guess because we only have 2 films on today, and because I didn't go to the cinema, so I can't really put anything up against it. I wanted to make this as a full-blown thing, but I recently finished watching Blackish season 5, and Blackish, Blackish is a show I absolutely adore. I think it's hilarious. I think it's about this family, and then the original idea of the show was, it's about a black family who live in LA, and they've gone quite well, so they're quite affluent. But they keep fighting with the whole idea of, okay, hang on a second, are we still black? Because the guy is fully black. His wife is her dad is white and her mom is black, and so their family is also mixed, and so it's kind of like blackish because it's like, oh, and every single episode, even though it's laugh out loud funny, it either gives you almost like a self-potted history of black people in America, or the different issues that they have to deal with that have been in the news a lot in the last 5 years. And so season 4 had gone quite serious. So season 4 had gone, like, there were bits where it felt like, okay, we're going to give you a good-hearted lecture almost about what's going on, especially when Trump got elected. There was a whole episode that was either about people rejoicing or people despairing that Trump got elected. And I think it's one of those shows that is just really, really, it's so incisive, it's so to the point, and there's a whole bunch of things where, like, being African, I look at it and go, well, you know what? We black people around the world, we're all African. and it has Lawrence Fishburne shows up in the show as the main character's dad, who's just called Pops. It has just a wonderful cast of supporting characters who all say things that just laugh out loud. And I think after going a bit serious in season 4, season 5 went back to just the plain old funny with a little bit of serious. I think season 4 was a little bit more, was a lot more of the serious with a little bit of funny, and now season 5 has gone to a lot of funny with a little bit of serious in it. They even have like an episode where which was after Prince died. They did an episode that was just a tribute to Prince and what Prince meant to the black community, and each one of them talking about, oh, this is what it meant, and they reenact also of Prince videos, which are hilarious. So yeah, Blackish, I love it. I would recommend it. I would give this a 4 out of 5. I would say anybody should. I think all of it is on. It's all on all four. Yeah, but I would recommend anybody go watch Blackish. It's kind of like, sure, let's put it this way. It's a little bit like because I know over the last couple of years you've mentioned how you've liked a lot of films that talk about the black experience in America. You're Straight Out of Compton's, your Detroit's, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
this is like
all that movies. Yeah,
this is like the funny, light-hearted side of that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So yeah,
excellent.
Yeah, and so it does love asking the question of what does it mean to be black, full stop, which I think is great. You can imagine that it's on message for me. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay, cool. But that's it with the also rants. And now let's get on to the actual films that we're going to talk about this week. Oh, good Lord, we finally got there. And now, first up is a film called Midsommar, which is from the director of Hereditary, which was the film that freaked a whole bunch of people out last year. But Shaun, I know that you were not that interested. You were not that impressed with that. So I'm going to
Hereditary.
Hereditary. No, I wasn't. No, I was a major disappointment. Yeah. I mean, it started off. I think I went through all this. It started off absolutely brilliant, and then just went stupid. Absolutely stupid.
Okay, cool. Okay,
sorry, that's it for that.
Started off a timer. 7 minutes have started, but I'm gonna. Okay, so Sharon, you take it away. Tell us, what was Midsommar all about?
Okay, so Midsommar. This is basically focuses on a couple, but particularly a young female. Her name is Dani, and she's been going out with a guy called Christian for 4 years, and the relationship is not an ideal one. She's quite needy, and he's quite distant. And then a tragedy affects her family deeply, and she's sort of brought to her knees. And Christian and his mates are planning to go to Sweden where they're all sort of older college students, so they're in their like mid-20s, and they're studying things like anthropology, so sort of customs and the sort of the way people live their lives. Yeah. And they've been invited to this Midsummer festival in Sweden. One of their counterparts is Swedish, and he grew up in this commune in this isolated part in the sort of the deep woods in Sweden. If you know anything about Swedish sort of geography, they have hundreds of miles of this dense woodland, this forest, and lots of legends and things that have come out of the forest and the sort of the wood lore. And so they're invited, him and his mates are invited to go to this Midsummer festival in this Swedish commune. And Dani, because of her circumstances, they invite her along as well, and so she ends up going to this thing. And so they end up in this seemingly idyllic commune where everyone dresses in like a native, because it's their special festival. They all dress in almost like a period clothes. So the ladies wear like hand-stitched linen smocks. The men wear smocks and sort of linen trousers, and they've got long hair, and they wear flowers in their hair, and they sort of sing and they dance.
That's it. Yeah, they've got a lot of music going all the time.
Always music going, always singing and dancing.
I
and it sort of makes it feel like the rites of summer almost. It sort of like brings out all this sort of like the pagan and the sort of new age almost, but it's sort of this.
I don't trust
soft
anything
pagan.
of this. I don't trust anything of this. This is already freaking me out.
Yeah. So they turn up in this village and all the girls look like Heidi, you know, they've got the plaited blonde hair and they're wearing the embroidered dresses and everyone's really welcoming and they sleep in these sort of hand-painted houses that are covered in these murals. But then the closer you look at these murals, you see that there's some really odd things in there. And as the story progresses, it starts to get a bit darker and a bit more sinister, and they're drawn deeper in. And it doesn't feel like they've been drawn into this wonderful, warm festival. It feels like they've been drawn into a web, and you don't know what's waiting at the middle of this web. So yeah, they're sort of being entangled and drawn in, and then a couple of people disappear, and they say, "Oh, they decided to go home," or they decided that it wasn't for them.
That's
and
the time when
left.
I would have said, "Let's get the hell out of here.
Let's go now.
Let's go."
And then it descends into, it's a horror film, so it just descends into elements of horror and gore.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of serious gore in this, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's quite a lot.
So I don't want to tell you any more about the story
No.
other than that, really.
But
Yeah.
with Sharon, right? The one bit that happens, right? The one bit, shall we say, when it starts to go strange. Wouldn't you have said,
I'm
do,
out.
do you know what? I really, really don't. This, you know.
Well, I think they would have. I would have asked if they're anthropologists and they don't
That's
ask many
true, yeah,
questions,
that's
do they?
true.
Early
No,
on,
no, that's
but
right.
a few times I'm thinking they describe like the ages of man. They're saying from the ages of 0 to 18 you are a child, and then from 18 to 36 you are in your rumspring, your youth. And then that's when you sort of make merry and you study, you go away to study. And then from 36 to, what was it?
72 or something, wasn't it? 72.
No, there's the working. You work from the age of 36 to your 54 or something. I think it's 54. I can't
remember that,
And then
but-
from 54 to 72, it's like your retirement, effectively. And no one asks, what happens at 72?
Yeah, that's right.
No one asks the question, do they?
No, they don't. But they
We
do,
find out
we
what
do
happens
find
when you
out
get
what
to
happens when you're
72.
72. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's
72.
so you're drawn.
Yeah.
They have this sort of, and it sounds like, hey, they're living in harmony with nature, with themselves, the rhythms of their lives, and then you're going, well, hang on, that's not very harmonious.
All right. So with this is a film that I am flat out refusing to watch. Because I'm flat out refusing because I've seen the trailer and the trailer just has such a sense of okay, this is going to go wrong. This is going to go wrong. There's just a sense of foreboding about it, and I'm like, no. And so I've refused to watch it. I've gone onto Wikipedia to look up what actually happens in the film. So, but what I want
right.
because just to make sure that I have absolutely no reason to watch the film.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
But from your point of view, was it effective? How did the film come out?
Well, there's certainly a sense of menace. From the
Yes.
beginning, you get this feeling of impending doom. As soon as they arrive in the village, you get this sense of menace. And they do it very cleverly because it's like the Swedish midsummer. The sun never sets, so it never gets dark. So you don't see them running through the woods, hiding in the dark or things that creep in the shadows. Everything is like fully lit. You see everything.
Yeah.
And I think
Because it's like daytime most
it's
of the
daytime. So they don't use the usual tropes of what goes creeping around at night.
Yeah.
It's all in broad daylight. So there is a genuine sense of menace.
There is,
I didn't find it particularly scary when I watched
I didn't
it.
think it was scary. I
No.
didn't think it was scary. I mean,
Some of the gore was a bit...
unnecessary, did you think?
I thought a bit like, ooh.
Yeah, was that necessary? I suppose that's what gave it the 18 certificate, because I
Yeah.
didn't realise it was an 18 certificate, but that was, some of
And
the things that happened.
there are sort of scenes of a sexual nature.
There are scenes of a sexual nature, yes.
And so I suppose that might have added to the rating
Okay.
as well.
Yeah.
All right,
odd scenes of sexual nature. I'm just going to mention one thing, though.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
just want to say about Florence Pugh, the actress.
Yes.
Absolutely
Mesmerising.
brilliant. Absolutely
Yeah.
brilliant. And I didn't realise she was the one in Fighting with My Family, wasn't
She
she?
was,
Yes,
yeah.
and Lady Macbeth.
And Lady Macbeth. And, I mean, she's class. I really, really like her. I like her a lot. Yeah. So...
Okay. All right.
It's really good. Yes, so we don't want to tell too much about
No,
it without
not
giving
really.
any more spoilers now.
No,
but
we
anyway, we didn't
But
find
just
it
get the hell out of
scary.
there. I mean, if I was, if And if it had been another thing, if it had been another film, so I'd have been sat there watching a horror film or something like that, I'd have been heckling by then.
Yeah.
But this didn't deserve heckling. This was much better. This was not a heckling movie.
Okay,
Yeah.
you
I
guys,
must admit, I would have left. I would have walked. I would have gone.
Definitely.
you guys,
Me too.
you guys might have heard that. That was our timer telling us that time is up. So it's
Time is up.
Yeah, so what? How many stars would you give this?
Well, I'm going to give it 4 because I really liked it.
I'm going to give it a 4 as well
You're gonna
because
give
I
it-
liked it,
yeah.
and I don't think it's classed as horror, but not in a, and it is gory, but I wouldn't say it was horrific.
No, I wouldn't
I would say it was
horrific.
like a menacing,
And it was quite interesting. The more you
impending
think
doom.
about it, it was
Yeah.
So it's a decent movie.
Ooh, Shaun. Okay, sure. For something that is primarily a horror movie, that's actually quite a good review from you.
That's a really, really good review for me. So you
Yeah,
know,
it was
I mean,
an effective piece
they
of
do happen.
creepiness.
Yeah, they do happen. Because it was. I mean, apart from them getting the hell out of there,
Yeah.
you know, I couldn't find anything that was a bit, you know, like normally I can the tropes I can find, but
Yeah.
I couldn't really
There's no
find
obvious,
too many.
there's no plot holes in this.
No, there's no plot
It all
holes.
made logic. It was
Yeah.
all logical to the people who were there.
It did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it
So
did.
so I know that that's the case, and I know that you said that you can't say anything else that won't be a spoiler. And having read what this film was about, I would agree with you, Sharon. Anything else you said would be a spoiler because I know everything that happens and I refuse to watch it. So.
Okay.
All right, cool. So now we're going to go over to Netflix. So a good, strong start from cinema. We're going to go over to Netflix now. And Shaun, you're going to tell us about Kidnapping Stella.
Yeah, Kidnapping Stella. Well, I put Netflix on, and this is like a brand new one. So it was, and I'm pretty certain it's a Netflix original.
Yes.
And I know we like to look at our Netflix originals. Well,
Yeah.
So I watched this Kidnapping Stella. It's basically, well, I can't think of too long with the synopsis because it's basically a couple of
There's someone
people
called
that
Stella
met in
gets
prison.
kidnapped.
Stella gets kidnapped. Yeah. So really, that's basically it. And then it's about
Yeah.
them trying, you know, different like what they do, you know, and how they obviously got masks, but sometimes perhaps they slip, whatever. And it's just this whole series, you know, of what they're going to do, and it
Yeah.
gets a bit more extreme and say, oh, they don't want to pay, so we're going to do this, and, you know, talk to your dad and all this sort of stuff. So, yeah, it's a kidnapping movie. And, okay.
I've seen a trailer and
Have you
it
seen a
makes it look a little bit
Yeah.
Stockholm syndrome-y in places, or is that just the trailer being
It's
misleading?
not Stockholm Syndrome, because that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
So it's not really, no, it's not Stockholm Syndrome at all. But it's practically, I mean, I didn't really know, and I've never seen it, but I was sort of reading about it, and there was this film called The Disappearance of Alice Creed.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
And have you, so
I
basically...
know that's
you
got
know it.
Gemma Arterton in it.
Gemma
isn't it?
Arterton, yeah, that's right. So it's basically a kidnapping movie. What can I say? I to start off with, I thought this was a decent movie. I thought, yeah, it's pretty good, you know, because it's quite serious. You know, I mean, it's like quite intense. They make a good job. If you can make a good job of kidnapping
Yeah.
someone, they make a good job, and they don't make it too silly. And they've got it all prepared, you know, so there's going to be no evidence. They get rid of things. So and I thought, yeah, this is all right. This is all right. I started watching it, and then, guess what, Sharon? What's happened?
Did she become a superwoman?
No, not quite that. But it's just like, oh no, you're going to let this go. It just goes like silly, right? Just drops again. Starts off really good. I thought, yes, it's going to be. And there's one moment where I'm thinking, do it. But for certain reasons, either, you know, like, hey, you caught me monologuing, you know what you mean? It's,
Yeah.
oh, that's you sly old fox. You know what I mean? And to me, it's like, what? Just do it. What are you doing? What are you talking about? What are you giving? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That really bugs me, Tosin. That does. Do you
When
know?
they're just talking
Do
and it's
you know what I
like,
mean?
just do
Because
it.
you know that something's going to happen. You know.
Yeah, and the longer they talk, you think you're
yeah.
just delaying. Why are you delaying?
Why are you
don't
delaying?
just
Yeah,
do
why
it?
are you delaying this? Because something's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and I'm like, and then so yeah, and I thought, nah, don't end like this. Don't end like this. And you know what? It did end like that. And I'm like, yeah. So big major letdown at the end. Big major letdown. And yet it started off a decent movie. I thought, yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
Can't find many
potential.
faults. Can't many faults. And yeah, so I have to say, I this was another one. It seems to happen. You know, I mean, it's like no, and things are all right, and it's like you wouldn't do it. You
So,
know?
so
You
what?
wouldn't- why
So,
not?
there's sometimes
Go on.
I think about this. It sounds like I think about it a bit like somebody who's running a marathon, and you start off really really strong, and then as things go on, you start getting lazy, and you get lazy halfway through, and you're just trying to get to the end, and you start taking shortcuts. And it sounds a little bit like that with these films that you talk about. That they have a really really good premise to begin with, but halfway through they go, oh, we spent all of our energy thinking of a good idea, and now, what usually happens in these films? Oh yeah, this happens. Oh, let's just do that.
Yeah. That's it. This wasn't too bad. The acting was really good. It's a German film,
Oh, yeah?
and I think it was dubbed.
Okay.
I'm pretty certain it was dubbed, well dubbed, but it's just, I mean, the acting was good all the way through. Really, it's just the situation at the end of the movie. You know what I mean? Towards the end of the movie, and it's like, hands in head. So yeah. So, but this was obviously a Netflix film, and so I would say it was a film of like 2/4 and a quarter. So 2/4 of it was. 2/3 of it's cool. What am I talking about? Quarters?
We've got a quarter
I'm getting
missing
confused.
here.
Yeah, we've got a quarter missing. So let's say 2/3 was good. Third was the last third was like no. Why are you doing that? Why are you monologuing? Why are you doing this? You're just like wasting time.
You're ruining it.
It's just. Yeah, it's to get out of a situation, I always love that in The Incredibles, the first Incredibles.
Oh, you
where,
got me monologuing.
That sounded just like in Toast. Yeah, you sly dog, you got me. Yeah. So that, and it's just like, because it's given that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the script writers. You're giving something able time to do something.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Just do it. Be
Have
done.
you never seen a film like this just now, you silly people?
Yeah.
Okay, so how many stars would you give this?
Oh dear, it's a tough one. This is a tough one because I did sort of start to get into it and let it down. But so I suppose to be fair to it, because the acting was pretty good and the characters were believable, I probably have to give it a 3, even though it was a bit disappointing at the ending because the film itself was okay. It's just, it wasn't particularly bad acted or anything like that. The ending, it just ended a bit,
Okay.
I don't know, cliched or whatever. But yeah, so I'll give it a 3 to be fair to it.
Okay, so that's a 3 for Kidnapping Stella.
3's fair.
Another one of those films that you probably wouldn't have seen without the help of Netflix, because they've gone over to Germany, found a film, brought it over, got Shaun's hopes up, and then dashed them in the final third.
That's it. That's the one.
Okay, now we go back to cinema, and I think, Shaun, you wrote down, and you said you've seen Anna, but I'm guessing you mean Annabelle Comes Home?
No, Anna. Anna. It was
Anna.
A couple of weeks ago. We missed the thing. Yeah, like the KGB agent.
Okay.
KGB agent one.
All right, cool.
So,
because
Red Sparrow.
Red Red Sparrow, but called Anna. Yeah, with
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, I've heard absolutely nothing about this film.
A Luc Besson film.
Luc Besson film.
Oh,
Basically,
I did hear about this. I just didn't see it in the cinema.
a bit like La Femme Nikita, really.
Okay, yeah.
Where you've got a this girl who's a KGB agent, and obviously they want her to do KGB stuff like you would do in any spy thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Spy. But she's really good. She's quite. She's pretty formidable. She's like a bit of a female John Wick, I would say.
Okay. Because there's
pretty
Cillian Murphy's
relentless.
in this, isn't it? And
Yeah. Well, he's like, obviously they want to. In this, there's a lot of like playing off against each other.
Yeah.
So, and she's quite a hottie. So she's obviously with the KGB. Should we say the KGB handler? She's obviously, he's got the hots for her. Obviously, Cillian Murphy's just like CIA. He's got the hots for her.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a playoff sort of thing. And then you've got Helen Mirren, who looks like Edna Mole in this. She does, I think. So Helen Mirren looks like, Edna Mole. So she's got like a black bob and she's a bit haggard and that. And she's like, first of all, when they're training her, she's really horrible. She doesn't she's like, no, you're no good. We don't need you and all that. And
is that reverse psychology to toughen them up?
I don't know. I couldn't really work that
So
one out.
is Helen Mirren the stereotypical sort of like Russian dame that trains them up.
Well, she doesn't do the training. Some other people do the training, but she's like the head. She's like the head of the corporation. You know what I mean? She's
is she playing?
She's not the head of the KGB, but she's head of the program for the
trains these girls.
That trains these girls, that trains these agents. You know, and obviously they set her up as in Paris as a model. It's all sort of set up. They get a model company to take her, and she does modelling and all that, and she makes friends, and she's got a bit of a she's a lesbian, so she has a lesbian relationship with I mean Luc Besson likes his lesbian.
He likes a bit girl
Well,
on girl,
does like a
doesn't
bit
he?
of girl on girl.
Yeah.
So,
Luc Besson. There's things in this film where you could accuse him of being a dirty old man. Let's put it.
Yeah, there is. That's
He
true.
does have this recurring theme. Yeah.
So basically it's all playing off against there's all these different double twists and all. We want you to come and work for us, and we want you to come and work for us. If you don't work for us, we're going to do this, and if you don't work for us, we're going to do that. You know what I mean? So she's sort of stuck between the devil and the deep blue sea.
Okay.
Some really good action sequences in this.
Okay.
So very much the John Wicky sort of thing where lots of
Bang,
shooting
bang, you're dead.
and jumping on people and spinning them around and kicking them and all stuff like that. So the action sequences are pretty cool in this. But back to Helen Mirren, she does look like, if you was to give her a big one of those long cigarette holders with a cigarette on the end, she would be in this film. She would be Edna Mole.
Okay.
She's even the stature of her. She looks. Sorry, go on.
Okay, I was just going to say, so Shaun, it seems like your big takeaway from this film is that Helen Mirren plays Edna Mode.
Yes.
Which, as cool as that sounds, it doesn't bode well for the rest of the film.
No, it doesn't. No. But there's, I think you can actually see where it's going. I mean, there is obviously these twists at the end, and there's a fairly big twist at the end. But I sort of had an idea where it was going to go, so it wasn't like a major surprise when the end happened. It was like, oh yeah, well, okay.
Well, that was
That
predictable.
was probably on the cards. You could see because obviously the interaction between Anna and Olga, or Helen Mirren and Sasha Luss, is it?
Luss.
The two Luss. There's quite a few scenes where they're together, and you never know what the sort of relationship, whether it is a sticky, prickly relationship, or actually if there is something more, So it's a pretty good film. It's all right. No major surprises. Action sequences pretty cool. So I'd probably have to say this was a 3-star. I'd probably give this a 3-star. Yeah, it was okay. It wasn't terrible. I couldn't find too many silly plot holes in it, and.
But you knew exactly where it was going.
Edna Mole. Yeah, I knew exactly where it was going. Yeah, no surprises.
Oh, by the way, Shaun, is Edna Mode?
Is it Mole? How's it?
Mode. Mode.
Oh, Mode, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know? Seeing it's like misheard
I
lyrics.
I have to say that, darling. I have to say that, darling, because if not, Edna would not stand for that. Edna would just not stand for that.
That's perfect. What an imitation that was. I could see it there, darling. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so that's 3 stars for Anna. All right, cool. Yeah, a film that I didn't even know was in the cinemas, and so I confused it for another one. Because I was fully expecting that you'd seen Annabelle Come Home and you were just going to come up here and rip at a new one because
I haven't actually managed to get to see that one, to be fair.
Yeah.
So, but hopefully I will.
Okay, cool. So now we go back to Netflix. And for our final film of the evening, besides me complaining about a film I haven't even seen yet, and so Sharon, you saw this. This was a film called After.
Yeah, this is After. This is I basically watched this as a compare and contrast exercise with Dumpling, because I watched them like within a week of each other.
Oh yeah.
And if Dumpling is everything I like about a sort of teenage film aimed at young girls, After
I love the way this has started already.
Yeah, it's great.
After is pretty much everything I dislike about films aimed at teenage girls or aimed at young women. Basically, this is a story of a young woman who goes to college, university. She leaves home for the first time. She's this sort of she's been brought up by a single mother in a not a deprived background, because when you see her home life, you're thinking, you're not deprived. That's a perfectly respectable home you've come from. Anyway, she's from this so-called deprived background, and she's got a nice, sweet boyfriend back at home, and she goes to university, and she meets this bohemian crowd, if you like, full of these people who don't really exist in real life, but they suddenly pop up at university. And she meets this bad boy, who, you know, he's a bad boy because he wears a black leather jacket and a Ramones t-shirt.
Oh, right, okay.
That's basically...
Yep, that's it. You know straight away, don't you, really?
And he's British, so he's sort of studying in American university because his father is one of the professors there. And he's got a history, he's got a backstory. And it's supposed to make him interesting. Allegedly, anyway. Anyway, they have a relationship, and the story after is basically, you know, there was her life before she met this boy, and then there's her life after she met this boy. And as you can probably tell by my tone of voice, it's becoming more and more dispirited as I talk about this.
I can tell that this was a nailed-on 5-star for you.
Yes, this is not a 5-star film. Yeah. And it's all about how it's also the centre of it is their relationship. And in some ways, where Dumpling, she wasn't defined by her relationship. She had a relationship in the film, but it didn't define her. You know, she found her own identity, she found her focus, and she found her centre, if you like. This one is all about how her identity seems to be all wrapped around this relationship with this boy. I couldn't see that she was, like a strong, independent woman.
From the cover, it wasn't a bit like Shades of Grey, was it? Or...
No,
right.
It's a bit sort of wet for that.
Oh.
It looks like it's going to be all amorousness,
right.
but there is amorousness in it. But it's very sort of soft focusy type stuff. To me, it was. I didn't really rate this film as a compare and contrast to films. You know, that I thought to Dumpling. I just thought it just didn't even hold a candle to it. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I thought, if you like just a standard teen romance, fine, enjoy it. But if it's trying to talk to you about, you know, the sort of the condition of being a young woman, leaving home and going to university and finding your feet and your identity, it's hopeless. So I would.
Dear, well, look at these reviews.
Well, it's all about you finding your identity through someone else. It's like through a man, or through a relationship, or through how you're defined by how other people see you. And so I was just like, there is a plot in there, but I just couldn't be bothered to tell you about it, quite honestly. So I would probably give it a 2. I would say it could be elevated to a 3 by saying it's very well made. The actors are, they do their jobs.
They show up, they stand on the front of the camera, and they say words.
Yeah,
I'm just
and to me, it's just like it just no.
There's a few reviews. I'm looking at a few reviews. 1 out of 10, absolute nightmare, bad movie, disappointed. 46 minutes of my life were wasted. Boring as. Would rather drink garbage water. 12-year-olds shouldn't be allowed to rate movies. Oh, look at that. We got one good one, 90s vibe. But yeah. Oh, worse than Twilight or 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, good lord.
Okay.
Okay.
So okay.
You get the picture.
I get the picture. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would give it. Honestly, I would probably give it a 2. I wouldn't watch it
2.
again.
No.
And I think it's of everything there is to admire about films aimed at young women. This is not one of them.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Right. So if we look at this, right, it's okay. May I say one good thing about this film?
Yes.
It seems that it's made you appreciate how good Dumpling is.
Yes.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all the warmth that Dumpling has, this film lacked. It just lacked warmth, and to me, it lacked empathy, and it lacked that heart that you want from a film. That if you're going to go through some sort of emotional crisis, you want to come out stronger at the end of it. And the only strength she came out at the end of it was like, oh, I've got a boyfriend.
And he's bad.
He was bad boy.
He wears a Ramones t-shirt.
He's got a Ramones t-shirt, and no one's ever heard of it. It's like that he probably wasn't even. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, cool.
I'm so over that.
Okay, At the end of the week, that brings us to the end of the films, and all that is left to say is that the winner this week is. Let's have a guess.
I think it's got to be Cinema this week.
It's got to be Cinema this week.
I think Cinema must have nailed it.
Yeah, Cinema because we're going out of 5, it's a whopping 1 point, a whopping one star win for Cinema. Apart from Midsommar, it's not particularly a great week. We've had the highest thing we had was a 4 star for Midsommar. But apart from that, everything else is like 3s, and then after coming dead last with a 2. Right. Yeah. So I think it's just left until next week, where I think next week the film we'll definitely be talking about will be
I guess that's the Lion King, is it? Is that out this week? Is that out this week?
It's out on Friday.
That's the big release for this week.
So yeah, I've not seen everybody says to me, how can you not have seen the original? And I haven't seen the original.
How can you not have seen the original? I have seen
You've seen the original.
Sean, but seriously.
Yeah.
How could you not have seen the original?
Just don't know. Just never really got round to it, I guess. But it'll be interesting to see the film. I'm looking forward to seeing the film because it looks really good from the trailer, I have to say.
Well, they did Jungle Book really well, didn't they? When you consider it was like an animal cast, effectively, they did Jungle Book really well. So I think. But
not Dumbo so well, eh, Toes?
I didn't watch Dumbo.
No, I didn't either.
No, don't.
On your recommendation, I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch it? Watch it when it comes on TV. Save yourself the time. Watch it while you're doing something else. But sorry, I forgot to stop the timer for the last film. Okay, quiet.
Okay.
But it's I think this film, right? The thing is, it looks amazing. But my problem is, I feel as if there's a little bit of magic that comes with the hand-drawn animation that I'm not so sure you get when it looks like a real lion. I'm going to watch. I'm obviously going to watch this film because I love the original. I'm obviously going to watch it, but there's a bit of me that's going. There were scenes in Jungle Book that I remember watching it, and I think I told you guys at the time. I saw those scenes and I was like, they are going to make the Lion King. There were scenes in the Jungle Book that were essentially a dry run. They were like, can we do the Lion King? And they were like, you know what? We can. And so I know it's going to look amazing and everything. Like, I'm just not sure that it's going to have the same kind of magic, but we'll see. And also, they've done the obligatory thing of, here's a new song. We have Beyonce voicing a character, so here's a new song by Beyonce in the charts this week, and I'm like,
Oh well, it'll certainly be interesting, won't it?
So
that's our next week.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what we're reviewing next week.
And I'm also because I was planning to go see Stuber. So I was planning to see Stuber tonight at 9 and then review it on the show tomorrow. But we're recording this show a day early, so I haven't. But to be honest with you, Stuber is a film that I look at all of the trailers for, and I mean,
looks awful, doesn't it?
It looks terrible.
Do you think?
It
does look bad.
It looks like it's going to be like forced comedy. You know, when somebody is trying to tell you that this is funny and you should laugh because this is funny and forgets to actually make the thing they're trying to make funny. That's what this looks like. It does looks like it's going to be a whole bunch of tired jokes and I'm not feeling a spark from it. So maybe that's why I haven't watched it. I've been trying to essentially walk backwards as I'm walking to the cinema. Oh yeah. Oh, I've got this to do. Oh, I've got to go wash my hair. Oh, I'm trying to find any excuse to not watch the film.
Any excuse, yeah.
Because I'm hoping to be totally wrong. But it seems like like, for instance, even the storyline of the film. Did you guys ever see a French film called Taxi?
I haven't seen it. No.
Yeah, but it sounds like a retread of that exact storyline. Like a police officer who can drive gets a taxi to take them around. Only that this time, obviously, because we're all, I don't know, whatever millennial now, it's an Uber. So, and I think Kumail Nanjiani. Well, actually, I'm reviewing this film before I even watched it. I think I'm pretty much reviewing this film off the trailer.
I think you have reviewed the film. Yeah, let's give it a 1 star from the trailer.
But the thing is, I think this is going to be one of those films where all the good bits, in inverted commas, are in the trailer, and if that's the case, it really doesn't bode well for the rest of the film. So, but I will let you know. A less biased next week when I am actually on the island.
Oh, right. Okay,
Hey.
cool.
Yes, I'm on the island next week. So we hopefully we should get together and actually do one of these ones where we're all in the same room. Imagine that.
Oh, good one. Good one.
All right, cool. Okay, so until next week, where we should talk The Lion King and Stuba and whatever else we see on Netflix, it's a goodbye from me.
A goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.
We will
Hey.
we will see you all next week. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.